before you think, before you dissect, before you attempt to explain what this means, pause. There is a reason certain images seize your attention without effort, a reason your eyes settle on one figure while the others fade into the background. This is not chance, it is instinct. And instinct speaks in a language far older than reason. For thousands of years, the human psyche has expressed itself through symbols. Animals, above all, have carried psychological meaning. Among them, the wolf stands apart. It is not merely a creature of the wild, it is a mirror of the human soul, loyalty and solitude, restraint and ferocity, instinct and intelligence. Each wolf carries a story, and each story reflects something living within you. This is not a personality test in the conventional sense. There are no correct or incorrect answers waiting at the end. What you are about to do requires no calculation, no guessing, no effort to impress even yourself. In fact, the more you analyze, the further you drift from the truth this exercise is meant to uncover. So there is only one instruction that matters. Look at the four wolves. Choose the one that draws you in first, not the one you admire most, not the one you believe represents strength, not the one you think you should choose. The right choice is the one your mind selects before your thoughts begin to argue. That first pull, that quiet inner recognition, is your unconscious speaking, and the unconscious does not waste energy on randomness. Each wolf represents a distinct psychological path, a different way of meeting the world, relating to others, and confronting yourself. The wolf you choose does not define who you are forever. It reflects who you are now, the phase you are moving through, the energy you are carrying, the tension or harmony you may not yet fully recognize. As we continue, you will discover what each wolf symbolizes, not in vague abstractions, but in ways that touch real emotions, real struggles, and real strengths. You may recognize yourself immediately, or you may feel a subtle discomfort. That, too, is meaningful. Before we go further, take a moment. If you find yourself drawn to this kind of psychological reflection, consider liking the video and subscribing to it. Allows this space to grow and makes it possible for us to explore these symbolic tests together. Now, hold your choice in mind. Do not second guess it. Do not change it. Because in the next chapter, we begin with the wolf chosen by those who seek calm, not as an escape, but as strength. If your attention was drawn to the wolf that stands with quiet confidence, steady eyes, and an unshaken presence, this chapter speaks directly to you. This wolf does not demand attention. It does not bare its teeth or assert dominance. And yet, its strength cannot be ignored. There is a calm here that is not passive, a stillness that comes only from knowing precisely who you are. Choosing this wolf often reveals a person who has learned, sometimes through necessity rather than choice, that not every battle deserves engagement. You value balance. You recognize that emotional control is not weakness, but discipline. Where others react, you pause. Where disorder spreads, you steady yourself. Psychologically, this wolf symbolizes inner regulation, the capacity to feel deeply without being overwhelmed. You may find that others turn to you in moments of uncertainty, even though you never sought that position. There is a quiet form of leadership in you, not one that commands, but one that reassures simply through presence. You likely pursue peace not because life has been gentle, but because you understand how fragile it is. Calm for you is not accidental. It is earned through self-awareness, reflection, and restraint. You know your emotions, yet you do not surrender authority to them. You carry them with maturity. But every strength casts a shadow. Those who resonate with the calm guardian can sometimes retreat behind composure. You may silence emotions to preserve harmony. Conflict feels exhausting, so you avoid it even when it is necessary. Over time, this can create distance not from others, but from yourself. You may feel misunderstood. People see your stability, but not the effort required to maintain it. They assume you are untouched, untroubled, immune to doubt. In truth, you simply choose not to display the storm. In relationships, you are loyal, patient, and protective. You give more than you request, yet there is a lesson here. Calm should not demand the sacrifice of your voice. Balance is not silence. Strength is not disappearance. If this wolf called to you, your inner work may lie in knowing when to remain steady and when to step forward. As we continue, the next wolf reflects a very different orientation. Not balance, but distance. Not peace, but solitude. A presence that stands slightly apart, observing life from the edge rather than the center. In the next chapter, we turn to the wolf chosen by those who walk alone, not because they are lost, but because they are searching. If the wolf that drew your attention stood apart, body turned away, gaze distant, presence quiet yet deliberate, this chapter speaks to an inner world shaped by independence and introspection. This wolf does not reject others, but it does not pursue them either. Its strength lies in self-sufficiency. Choosing this wolf often points to someone who learned to rely on themselves, sometimes earlier than they should have had to. You are at ease in your own company. Silence does not unsettle you, it sustains you. Psychologically, the lone wanderer represents autonomy of mind and spirit. You think deeply, you observe more than you speak. While others look outward for affirmation or direction, you turn inward. Your decisions are rarely impulsive. They are formed through reflection, experience, and a firm internal compass. This does not mean you lack emotion. Quite the opposite. Your inner world is vivid, layered, and constantly alive. You simply choose with care who is allowed to enter it. Trust is not given quickly, it is earned over time. You value authenticity, and superficial connections leave you depleted. You would rather remain alone than be misunderstood. Many who choose this wolf experience themselves as outsiders, even when surrounded by others. Not because they do not belong, but because they perceive differently. You may have long felt slightly out of rhythm with the world, noticing patterns others overlook, questioning norms that others accept without reflection. Yet this archetype carries a shadow. When self-reliance hardens into emotional distance, the lone wanderer risks isolation. You may find it difficult to ask for help, convinced that everything must be carried alone. Vulnerability can feel less like connection and more like exposure. Over time, this creates a quiet exhaustion, not from doing too much, but from bearing too much in silence. In relationships, you value depth over frequency. You bond slowly, but once you do, your loyalty is unwavering. Still, others may struggle to read you. They may sense your physical presence while feeling you are elsewhere emotionally. This is not indifference, it is protection of the self. If this wolf called to you, your inner work may revolve around balance. To learn that independence does not require isolation, and that allowing others closer does not diminish you, but enlarges you. Solitude is a source of power, but it must remain a place you visit, not a place where you vanish. As we move forward, the next wolf stands in stark contrast to this quiet distance. Where the lone wanderer turns inward, this wolf meets the world directly. It does not step aside. It advances. In the next chapter, we encounter the wolf chosen by those who grow through challenge, the one who transforms by confronting what others avoid. If your instinct was drawn to the wolf that stands firm, facing forward with intensity in its gaze, this chapter speaks to a part of you that is intimately familiar with struggle. This wolf does not retreat. It does not observe from afar or seek sheltered ground. It engages life head on. There is tension in its stance, but also direction. Choosing this wolf often reflects a person shaped by adversity, not diminished by it, but forged through it. Psychologically, the fierce challenger symbolizes transformation through confrontation. You evolve by meeting resistance. Difficulty does not send you into hiding, it awakens you. You may feel most alive when tested, when something demands strength, courage, or decisive action. Much of your conflict is internal, where doubts, fears, and ambitions pull against one another. Yet rather than turning away, you engage. You wrestle with your shadows instead of denying their existence. This wolf reflects ambition, but not a shallow kind. It is the drive to become more than you were yesterday. You may be drawn to pressure, responsibility, or high expectations, whether imposed by others or demanded by yourself. You are not fulfilled by comfort alone. Growth carries greater meaning for you. Yet this path bears its own weight. Those who resonate with the fierce challenger often live with constant inner tension. Rest can feel unearned. Stillness may appear as weakness. You may find it difficult to stop fighting even after the struggle has passed. Over time, this can become exhaustion, irritability, or the feeling that peace always lies ahead, never here. There is also the danger of defining yourself solely through resistance. When life becomes an endless sequence of obstacles, you may forget who you are when nothing needs to be overcome. Strength, when left unbalanced, hardens into rigidity. In relationships, you are deeply loyal, yet demanding of both yourself and others. You value honesty, courage, and endurance. Emotional softness, however, may feel unfamiliar, even threatening. Lowering your guard can seem more dangerous than standing firm. If this wolf called to you, your lesson may not be about becoming stronger. You already possess strength. It may be about learning when to stop pushing and allow integration. Power does not arise only through forward motion. Sometimes it emerges when nothing needs to be proven. As we move forward, the next wolf carries a markedly different energy. Where the challenger confronts reality, this one listens beneath it. It does not battle the world, it senses it. In the next chapter, we turn to the wolf chosen by those guided less by force and more by intuition, symbolism, and the quiet voice of the unconscious. If you were drawn to the wolf with a softer, almost ethereal presence, the one that watches rather than acts, this chapter reflects a deeply intuitive dimension of your inner life. This wolf neither rushes forward nor fully withdraws. It remains still and attentive, as though listening to something hidden beneath the surface of things. Choosing this wolf often reveals a person led less by logic and more by subtle perception. You sense what is unspoken. You feel shifts in mood, energy, and intention that others fail to notice. Psychologically, the mystical observer represents intuition and unconscious awareness. You likely spend much of your life in inner reflection, even if you are not always aware of it. Dreams, symbols, and emotions hold significance for you. You may feel drawn toward art, spirituality, psychology, or anything that seeks meaning beyond appearances. You do not always seek answers. You seek understanding. Where others ask, "What should I do?" you ask, "What is this trying to reveal?" This makes you perceptive, empathetic, and deeply attuned to your surroundings. You recognize patterns, emotional currents, and silent truths with unusual clarity. Yet this depth carries its own burden. Those who resonate with the mystical observer are often misunderstood. Your inner world is complex, fluid, and difficult to translate into words. When you attempt to express it, language can fail you, and so you may turn inward, choosing silence over distortion. There is also the risk of drifting too far from the tangible world. When intuition is left ungrounded, it can dissolve into confusion. You may begin to overinterpret signs, assign meaning to everything, or hesitate when decisive action is required. Reality can feel harsh, overwhelming, or too rigid when compared to the depth and fluidity of your inner world. In relationships, you are deeply compassionate and emotionally perceptive, yet boundaries may be difficult to maintain. You absorb the emotions of others, and this can leave you depleted. You may feel compelled to heal, guide, or support, even when it costs energy you have not yet restored. If this wolf called to you, your inner task may be one of balance. To trust intuition without losing your grounding in reality. To recognize that sensitivity is not fragility, and depth does not demand isolation. Perception is a gift, but it must be anchored. Insight becomes wisdom only when it is lived, not merely felt. As we approach the final chapter, it becomes clear that none of these wolves exist in isolation. Each represents a force within the human psyche. In the next chapter, we step back to see the larger pattern. The wolf you chose, the wolves you did not, and what they reveal together about who you are becoming. If you look back now, you may notice something essential. None of the wolves were wrong choices. None of them appeared by accident. Each embodies an energy that already lives within you. The one that drew you first was not random. It reflected the part of you that is most active, most needed, or most alive in this moment. Not who you once were, not who you believe you should become, but who you are now. At different times, you may recognize yourself in all of them. There are moments when you seek balance and calm, choosing stability over chaos. Moments when solitude becomes necessary, when turning inward feels safer and clearer than engaging with the noise of the world. There are times when confrontation cannot be avoided, when growth demands courage and forward movement, and times when intuition leads more than reason, when meaning matters more than structure. Psychologically, this is the nature of the inner life. We do not live from a single identity. We shift, we adapt, we respond to life's demands by drawing on different inner resources. The wolf you chose simply shows which resource is leading now. This is why such reflections feel personal. They do not define you. They remind you of what you are carrying. If one description resonated deeply, consider why. What in your life is asking for balance? Where have you been walking alone? What struggle are you still engaged in? What intuition have you neglected? These questions matter more than any conclusion. Self-awareness is not about labels. It is about recognition. If you feel inclined, share your chosen wolf in the comments, not to be judged or explained, but to acknowledge it. Sometimes naming what resonates is the first step toward integration. And if this exploration spoke to you, consider remaining connected. There are many more symbolic journeys like this to come, each offering a distinct doorway into the psyche. Liking the video and subscribing to helps sustain this space and allows us to continue exploring these inner landscapes together. Remember, the aim is not to become one wolf for life. It is to recognize when each one is required and to move forward with awareness. For the wolf you chose today is not merely a symbol. It is a reflection of the path you are learning to walk.